Remember the hashtag no new friends? Honestly, that was probably one of the dumbest movements I have ever seen on social media. I thought that that was so darn toxic, whomever decided to say no new friends. And so I wanted to have a little conversation today because, all these little thoughts in my head that kind of come up that I want to talk about. I'm going to start talking about them here because I feel like you get me and we're on the same page. So today we're going to talk about how you can make new friends this year quickly. So welcome back to another episode of the Keenya Kelly podcast, where we talk about all things life, business, having a balanced life, therapy, dating, and all the things. And today we're having a conversation about friendship, about having friends, making friends, and all the things. So I don't know about you, but I value being around people. I have a value around being around high quality individuals that bring joy to my life, that bring life to me, people that can teach me things, people that can confirm things with me, people that will pray for me and with me, people that will watch Ratchet TV with me when I do watch it. Like right now, I'm watching Perfect Match. Good Lord. And so I value that type of thing that you get with people. Now, I also value long-standing relationships, people that know me, the ins and outs, the good and not so good, people that see me and know me, and not just people that I meet on the internet, right? And I'm in this season, obviously, where I just relocated back to Houston. And that means that I'm losing that instant kind of connection to people in San Diego where I could just say, what are you doing? Let's go out. Let's do this and it. Like, you don't get that anymore when you move. And so I'm lacking in that. And so because I recognize what is happening and what could happen, I intentionally hit the ground running and said, I've got to make new friends. And with doing so, I had these like lots of different little feelings about this whole making new friends. And, I've talked about this a little bit before on the show, but here are some of the things that I deal with. So one of the things is we are who we are. We are how we are. We believe what we believe and all the things. And we're in a culture in the world today where everybody believes a lot of things that are very conflicting with one another. And I find myself in the space of, if I meet this new person, what do I say? Don't I say? What do I ask? What don't I ask? And I don't think that that's a bad thing, but that's an awareness of that is the state that we're in with when you're talking about talking to people, connecting with people. And so because of that, it makes making new friends a little bit scary, okay, for that. Then you've got, once you actually share who you are and what you believe, how is that other person going to receive you? Are they going to like what they hear, like what they know? It's kind of like going on a date with someone, and after that first date, you're trying to figure out, are they interested or not? You're not sure until that night. If they text you the next morning, you just don't know, and same thing with making friends. And so we deal with that happening. Then we deal with, when the rubber meets the road, because nobody's life is perfect. Good things, not so great things happen all the time. And we run the risk of developing these relationships, and with the rubber meets the road, they're ghost, right? I remember it was so many people went ghost on me when I went to divorce, but it is what it is. Then I deal with the fact that I'm online and I create content online. So people may be aware of me, maybe. And so if I meet a person and they know me online, there's the possibility of, yay, they already know me. This is great. We can connect. But there's also the possibility of they know what they know about me online, and now they want me to help them, because I typically help people with building a business, social media, and all that. So I deal with not knowing why this person wants to connect, or for whatever reason, and they may deal with that as well. I'm not the only person. You know what I'm saying? Then if someone sees your success or lack of success, what can happen there? So for me, I deal with all of those awarenesses about those things. But even in the awareness of all of that, every time I think about the possibility of developing new relationships, it excites me, because I don't know, I just feel like people are so multifaceted. They're so amazing. You get to learn and experience, and I get to grow and come up as a result of my relationships. And I don't mean come up as in you're giving me an opportunity. I mean it in the sense of who you are as a being has the potential of calling me up from where I am as a being. You know what I mean? Like my friends that we're talking about menopause right now, the more we're talking, I mean, it's elevating. I'm telling them what I know, and they're telling me what they know. And together we're like navigating this thing that none of us know what's going on. I'm in a season of dating and at some point remarrying. And when that time comes and I'm like getting ready for a first date, someone can help me put the thing together, and it's just the whole ordeal. You know what I mean? And so I just value like having old friends and making new friends. And so when I think about how to make new friends this year, I feel like it's a lot easier than we think it is. Okay? Because here's the deal. I just moved to Houston, and I haven't done this yet, but I did this when I moved to San Diego. I went in San Diego and I found girl groups. And someone told me about this group called Girl Time San Diego. And so I remember posting in there saying, I'm new. I want to make new friends. Is anybody open to having lunch? I would love to connect and have lunch. And I chose a place, chose a time, and like 10 people showed up. 10 people showed up. I was amazed. And it wasn't because I was teaching them anything. They were just like, yeah, I want to make friends. And they all showed up. And I was like, okay, and I was going to DC, and where was I going? Somewhere else I was going. To Houston to find an apartment. And I posted and said, I'm coming to Houston. I'm coming to DC. Does anybody want to have dinner? All of these people responded saying, yes, I want to X, Y, and Z. And I was just like, wow, that's amazing, And so then I did the same thing here in Houston when I moved, and a bunch of people were like, yes, I want to connect. Yes, I want to connect. And then I went to an event and a girl was like, how come you didn't pick me? And I was like, for what? The creator meetup. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, you do these things and I don't get picked. And I was like, well, I haven't picked anybody. I was just trying to see who was interested. And she was so nice about it, but it just showed that she wanted to connect or whatever. You know what I mean? And I just feel like that if we're trying to make friends, then we just have to be open to the way that we could make friends, right? So obviously Bumble has this thing called Bumble BFF. That could happen that way. You can go to networking events. You can ask people who they know in your city that is a quality person, that is this, that like social media is such a great person. It's a great thing for this, right? Because I can post on social and I can say, I am trying to make new friends. Here are the new friends I'm trying to meet this month. I'm looking for people, let's just say in the month of July. I could say, I'm looking to make 3 new friends. These 3 friends value God, value therapy, value personal growth and are, what would I say would be a good friend? Positive and uplifting. Who are 3 people in Houston that you recommend I connect with? The worst thing that happens is people don't tag anybody. The best thing that happens is people tag 3 people. And I got tagged 3 people who love God, value therapy, ABCD. Oh my God. You know what I mean? And then now you can start a DM conversation with these people until they feel comfortable meeting you in person. Right? I am planning on posting in July, because this month's really busy, and saying, okay, I want to do a meetup and I want us to go to a location that is free where we can order food, do something, and then we can go and sit somewhere and we can all connect. That way we don't commandeer a restaurant. Where do you guys recommend? Does anybody have a club room at your apartment that we could host or whatever? Because I don't want to bring everybody to where I live. I don't want to do that, And the worst thing that happens is nobody has anything. But the best thing that happens is that we find a place because people know something, they work somewhere or whatever, And I just really feel like it's just an easy way to meet people. That doesn't mean that that's how you develop deep friendships, but that's how you at least start the conversation. Because what I have learned through my best friend is that we've got to put people in boxes. It's like, you got to waffle and there's boxes. Everybody shouldn't just have access to everything. I've learned that through her. And it's like, okay, here is my entrepreneur box. Here is the church box. Here is the menopause box. Here is the box where you're my neighbor. Here's these little boxes. And then everybody is in individual boxes. And then the neighbor may end up turning into my lunch buddy box. So she's my neighbor and lunch buddy box, right? And that's what she is. She's not my confidant. She's whatever, right? Then my neighbor could turn into my pool buddy, right? Where she's my neighbor, we go to lunch and we also do pool together. And then it could become this thing it just develops over time, right? We may hit a wall and say, she's not in my God box. She's not into God, and that's okay. She's not in my God box, or she's not in my therapy box. She doesn't value that. That's okay. Doesn't mean I can't be friends with her. It just means she's in these boxes and she does not go to that box, right? And then we go, my Ratchet TV friend box, right? She loves Ratchet TV, yada, 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 whatever. You know what I mean? And I think that if the goal this year is to grow in friendship, we have to, 1, be willing to take a risk, okay? We have to be willing to put ourselves out there to be received or rejected. We just have to. We have to put ourselves out there to be received or to be rejected, okay? And we have to keep on doing it, right? We have to keep on doing it because that's the only way it's going to happen, because everybody's busy with their own lives. Everybody's busy with all the things that they're busy with. And they've also got their current friend group. Okay. And people aren't going to burst into our house and say, are you looking for friends? I just figured out that you're looking for friends. You want to be my friend? That doesn't really happen that way, right? We have to get ourselves out of our homes into spaces and places to meet people and make friends, right? That's like, I've been telling people I'm going to London. Who do you know in London? And I had someone who tagged someone on LinkedIn and said, you guys should meet. Kenya's coming to London. And so I plan on messaging her today and saying, yes, I will be in England on Thursday at this time. I'm going to sleep for a day or whatever. But then the next day I would love to come to London, or whatever it is that I say, and I can start that relationship. Doesn't mean we're going to become best friends overnight, but at least it will begin the relationship. Like I met somebody at a conference. Somebody introduced me to this person at a conference. I met them. We connected a little bit at the conference. We I shared with her, I said, hey, I know sharing phone numbers can be a little bit wacky with people texting for random things. It's like, I'm not one of those people. I'm never going to text you for business. So we're okay. And she goes, okay, great. So we connected. And then I started watching her on social media. And when these amazing things would happen, I would message her on social media and say, girl, you're amazing, girl, whatever. And just start talking to her that way. Right. And then I would only text her for something that was non-business related. And then we've been developing this relationship. It's not deep. It's currently where it is, right? And that's great. And then it will develop over time into whatever it's going to develop. But it couldn't if I wasn't open to meeting her, if I didn't give her the disclaimer of, I'm not going to do anything from you that you don't want to have happen. I value your space and mine too. Set the boundary. And then it's developing into what it is developing into. Does that make sense? And so if your goal this year is to make friends, you've got to take risks. 2, you got to be willing to grow. Okay. You've got to be willing to grow because you are who you are, the way that you think, the way that you are. That doesn't mean it's okay to stay there. Okay. So I have this thing where I'm fairly emotional. I'm learning to regulate my emotions. I didn't learn how to do that as a child. So I'm on this journey of learning how to regulate my emotions so I can be very emotional, okay? They say it's a Cancer thing because I'm a zodiac sign Cancer or whatever, but I'm like, no, it's because I wasn't able to regulate my emotions as a child, okay? So now that I know that about me, it is my responsibility to continue going on the journey of learning how to regulate my emotions so that when I am in these relationships with people that I'm not constantly all over the place, constantly emotional, causing them to be in a tornado of my emotions. That's my responsibility. So if you want to make new friends this year, you've got to be accountable and responsible for you, how you are, and be willing to evolve, be willing to grow and mature. Because even though some friends may tolerate X, some people are not going to be willing to tolerate that, especially if it's not a healthy trait. Okay. And so you can't say, well, I'm always been that way. That's fine. But if you're saying you want new people, more quality people, you're going to have to be willing to grow. Me, myself, and I included, working on it. I am working on it and all the things that's going on with Keenya Kelly. Okay. I am working on it. Okay. So if your goal this year is to make friends, you got to be willing to take risk and you got to be willing to grow. Okay. You got to be willing to bend, grow, and all the things, because there are amazing human beings out there that want to know you, that want to love you, and that want you to know them and you love them, but they're not going to break into your house. Okay. They're not going to break into your house to make a friendship, establish a relationship. They're just not going to do that. That's not how this works. But what they are going to do is they are out there. And if you're posting or you're going to events and you're talking to people, you're going to meet them. But it is your responsibility to put yourself in that position to be able to make new friends. And that's what I'm doing. Is it scary? Yes. Do I feel a little bit of like all type of things? Absolutely. Every time I post something about something, I feel all the things. But guess what? I still want to make friends because we're wired for people. We're wired for community. And that's what I want. Like, I've been going to this church for a couple weeks. I have not tried to make friends there yet because I'm trying to get used to the environment of that church. And I'm trying to get used to just being out of California and in Texas. And at some point in time, I will go to a smaller event outside of church. At some point, I will tell people where I came from. I will tell people my God story. At some point in time, I will go down that journey of who I am, what I believe, and all the things. As of right now, I am not ready for that at church, because church it's a very different environment than I'm ever used to going to. Like, in like 15 years, I haven't been in an environment like this current church, like, right now, right? It's not bad. It's just different. And so I'm like, let's get ourselves adjusted. Okay, let's get adjusted to life first, and then we can do all of that. Okay, so that is how we're gonna make us some new friends in 2024. I am curious, are you open to making new friends this year? If you are, tell me in the comments here on YouTube what you're doing to make new friends. If you are here on the podcast, I want to know. Screenshot this episode and then send me a DM on Instagram and tell me what you're going to be doing this year to make new friends. So, thank you so much for listening and watching.